Buenos dias. We are now leaving a little town called Justo, I think it's Justo de la Vega, and we're heading towards Astoria, which my amigos are very, very excited about because it's the chocolate capital of Spain, and they are hoping to see the world's famous chocolate museum. I'm not really excited about it. I'm not a sweets eater, but of course I will go because it's sort of novel. Not a big day today, something like 23 or 24K, so pretty easy. This is a cool little sleepy town. They actually had a pizza place, so we ate pizza, which was sort of a nice change from the typical pilgrim's meals or these other kind of meals that we seem to find in these places. But yeah, so I don't know, sort of a brisk day. The weather says that it's going to be 70-something degrees Fahrenheit for this entire week, so we're not very worried about the weather. No need to fret about rain, even though apparently we are heading into some wet areas in Galicia. Yesterday we met this very fascinating lady. There's a small store here. It's a candy store. Her name was Ruth. She had done the Camino. Fascinating lady. She told us the story of Santiago and the legend behind how his body got there. And she also told us about this very interesting church along the way that she says it's very important you go do, because they have a special stamp that has a thing called the Sorry Door. Now, never had heard of this, but apparently if you go get your passport stamped at this church, and for whatever reason you cannot finish the Camino, if you can't, let's say you got injured or something happened to you or you're unable to complete it, because you went to this one church that has the Sorry Door, you still get your Compostela. Somehow it's like a get out of jail free card, like you got to skip to the end. So we are all gonna go to the Sorry Door and get our Compostela stamp, just because I think it's so novel. So the Sorry Door, I'm not sure exactly the history behind it, but apparently it opens twice a year, and I don't think it's time for it to be open, but the cathedral still has the stamp, so pretty cool. I'll definitely videotape that when we get there, so there's some kind of historic record so I can even remember where it's at. But so we're heading out of town. Yesterday was a brutal walk, but I gotta say, one of the other things too from yesterday's walk, there was a couple that after you walk for kilometers and kilometers through some very difficult terrain, and the trail was rough, it was like rocky, so it would hurt your feet really bad. But at the very end of this brutal long excursion, there was an outpost. I don't know if it's a husband and wife or a couple. There was a couple that just put out like this resting spot. They had juice, they had food, they had salad, they had fruit, and they basically said, free, take whatever you want, and you leave it a donation. And it was like an oasis. Everybody who stopped there just, oh, you really needed it, because it was a brutal, long, hard walk yesterday. But when we got to this one little oasis, just like you were like, ah, I made it. It's like a little spot in the middle of nowhere. Well, this couple apparently did the Camino, and they created this thing, and they're there every day, like 365 days a year. And it doesn't have electricity, but it has water. And they just made a pilgrim stop just for pilgrims. People can even stay there, and a bunch of other pilgrims did. They decided they just wanted to stay there because it was so novel and so like the true spirit of the Camino, where you just give and you help each other. Met a lot of cool people there. Met another guy who's walking the Camino with his dog, and he was a nice guy. He was a German guy, and he pulled out all these German prayers, and he would sing them in German. And to the people who can understand, they thought it was very beautiful, but we were all just sort of listening, and it was actually poetic and beautiful, and we didn't understand what it was, but we sort of got the gist. It was really nice. So, but yeah, I am now crossing a river. You see that? leaving out of Justo de la Vega, heading to Astorga. I'm trying to think what, oh, yesterday we also went across some, I guess, sheep country, because a huge herd of sheep came across our trail. I got some of that on film, but yeah, it was pretty cool. Pretty neat place. So, all right, heading to the chocolate capital. So we're sort of dying for some food. The place we were at didn't have any kind of breakfast, so we have all caffeined up. We've had our cafe con leche, and we were trying to find a place that has something like a croissant. It seems like the standard breakfast here in Spain is a tortilla, which is not a tortilla like back in America. It's almost like an egg quiche. It'll have egg, some cheese, maybe potatoes, and it looks like a slice of pie from a quiche, but they call them a tortilla here. So that's sort of our typical breakfast, or croissant, or the sugary ones called the Napoleon, which will have chocolate in it and, you know, a little bit more sweet. So I don't know, I'm sort of rambling this morning. All right, I will do another entry later. So I'm in Astorga now, and behind me is some really cool looking old building, and if you can see, there's a clock at the top, and apparently at 10, which is just minutes away, those little whatever they are is going to ring the bell. So that's what I heard. So I'm out here to try to film it. We're about to have breakfast, so this ought to prove to be a very interesting timing. We just get here just before it happens. So I'm going to have the camera rolling, and hopefully we get the crazy bell. Just minutes away from this bell ringing. I can't believe the anticipation I'm having right here. I'm sort of hoping it's going to be really exciting, or it's going to be totally lame and I'm waiting for nothing. So we'll find out. Oh, and we just ran into Hannah, another pilgrim from Germany or something, and she said Cindy is here. So I guess Cindy's starting to recover, and she skipped ahead a couple towns, and she thinks she might even be able to do a little bit more of the Camino, which is pretty cool. So, all right, get ready. Countdown is coming. I feel like it's like New Year's. Oh, the guy on the right and the girl are banging the bell. How cool. I caught it. Well, that was very eventful.